Welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. This is August 6th, 2026, and we have a treat for you today. Today is the first of our two prerequisite meetings for the SDLC workshop. I am so excited about this. It doesn't matter if you're in the workshop or not. We have information about the workshop, but we're also going to talk about what the different roles are if you are in SDLC. I don't know anyone who is a business analyst or interested in business analysis that doesn't need to understand the SDLC process. So let's get started. My name is Thea Soehren. I'm the president of the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. I've done a lot of stuff, but because I'm the president, it's my job to help you. If you need assistance, please reach out to me through LinkedIn. And if I help people review documents, I do mentoring, I answer questions, I help with CBAP certification. I do a lot of stuff, but I can't do it for you unless you reach out to me. So write down my name and reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let me tell you about the IIBA, just in case you don't know. The IIBA is the International Institute of Business Analysis. We've been around for about over 20 years, and we have shaped business analysis internationally. We are the global standard setting body for business analysis. If you've ever heard of PMI for project managers, we are the PMI for business analysts. They have their PMP, we have our CBAP. The organization, the IIBA, has 30,000 members professionally worldwide, and we have 120 chapters. We have certifications that say you know what you're talking about, not only about business analysis, but there's 4 additional certifications that allow you to show your professionalism and your expertise in other fields around business analysis. At its core, the IIBA exists to elevate the impact of business analysts, helping us make better decisions, deliver better outcomes, and ultimately make the world better, one business and one project at a time. So, what are the benefits of joining the IIBA? Well, you get access to training provided by chapters around the globe. You get complimentary access to over 25,000 outstanding books, including the Babok, along with webinars and additional resources. And you get discounts on certification exams that meet or exceed what you pay for the membership. IIBA chapters are in major cities around the world. If there is not an active chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter. Wouldn't you like to be the founding member of your chapter? Or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. Members of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter are not restricted to residents of Florida. In fact, we have participants literally around the globe. If you do not have an IIBA chapter, Tampa Bay can be your chapter. Let me know what you decide. Our vision here at Tampa Bay IIBA is building a thriving community of empowered business analysts. So, what would you get out of joining the Tampa Bay chapter? First of all, we offer multiple training sessions each week. We're about to hit 4 sessions a week, including CVAP prep and coaching and an acclaimed SDLC workshop, among other things. You can view our upcoming events at our website, and the updates are posted on LinkedIn and Facebook. By the end of 2025, we had presented well over 300 events here during our BA masterclasses and to organizations around the world. And those events are available on YouTube, but 300 is a lot. So go to Bob's Amazing Index here at rpchurchill.com, and he has it indexed, all of our events by date, by topic, and by speaker. Thank you, Bob. This is our esteemed board, and I'm so very proud of the efforts of each one. We do have an opening. If you're interested in joining our board, talk to me. As a result of putting on all of these trainings and mentoring over 100 individuals just this last year, the Tampa Bay chapter was awarded the Global IIBA Award for Professional Development Excellence, the single award for that for that year. We currently have 2 CBAP training classes underway. Those training classes are 7 months long and they're weekly, and they are getting close to being wrapped up. As a result of all these efforts since 2021, these students have reached out to us to tell us that our training and mentoring was a big part of their success in achieving certification. Many on this list are past participants of our CBAP study group, and several studied along with us using only our YouTube videos. Of these 32, a good number have gone on to lead IIBA chapters and organizations here and around the world because at the Tampa Bay IIBA, we make leaders here. We've also been very proud to be the first IIBA chapter to sponsor a book to benefit the global BA audience. Business Analysis Bridging the Gap Across Industries Volume 2, 12 More Industries, has now joined Volume 1 on Amazon. This has 12 industries in each, and it helps you decide where you might like to become a business analyst. Thank you to the authors who contributed their experience to benefit us all. I'd like to take a moment to appreciate all of our partners. Our number one partner group, though, is you, our participants and members. We're partnered with over a dozen other IIBA chapters worldwide, and we mentor 4 chapters that are just forming. We're partnered with the Doback Group based in the UK, and these groups in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. And we've also successfully partnered with several recruiting services and training companies. Our goal, as always, is to elevate our BA community. This is our most recent partnership with Purdue University, their virtual AI master's program. It's a very interesting partnership. You'll find out more about that later. As a result of all these partnerships, we can give you discount codes. Watermark Learning offers you a 40% discount using this code. This means that you can get unlimited access to over 1,200 CBAP practice test questions with a 40% discount. It's basically about $1 a day, and this is the same program that I use whenever I teach my CBAP certification groups. Adaptive US also offers a 20% discount to our participants. This is for all their live classes and on-demand courses, excluding their IIBA exam vouchers. Let me tell you what's coming up in the near future. On August 13th, next week, we're going to host a panel of 5 North American recruiters. They're going to talk to us about what skills we need to be developing to get jobs that are on the horizon for them, what problems they see when BAs apply for jobs, how we can best achieve getting hired whenever we are applying for jobs. I'm looking forward to this. Then the following week, we get the second prerequisite for the SDLC simulation meeting. This is deeper into the SDLC stages, deliverables, and purposes. I look forward to that one as well. The following weeks, we have a group of people that are going to come and talk to us from their decades of experience. This one is going to be a full-day workshop on a Saturday. I'm looking forward to Business Process Management with David Verbanik. And then my friend Scott Ambler is coming to talk to us how to pick the right AI algorithm for your context. So we're going to jump right into our presentation. So welcome to the SDLC simulation prerequisite meeting. We're going to review the plan and introduce the SDLC roles. Let me tell you what we did last year. Last year was our first year for SDLC. Our idea, it started with a single idea. We ended up with 14 mentors, 95 participants, instruction packets, and 8 apps. We then moved into 11 hours over 11 weeks with 6 teams with the PO, PM, BA, UI, UX, and QA and Dev roles. And the outcome of that was 6 projects, 16 pages on the BAForceMultiplier.com website, 10 IIBA memberships awarded to the participants that did well, just even if they didn't know anything at the beginning. If they leaned in and grew, we gave awards. We also awarded the 14 mentors. What the awards were, the IIBA memberships for an entire year. We had several people come back to us and tell us that the experience changed their lives for the better. So let me tell you what we're doing in 2026. We're changing a few things. We have, let's see, it's 15 hours, not 12. 15 hours, and it's going to be 12 weeks. And let me talk to you about what's going to be included in that. So what's in it for you? You get hands-on experience. You're going to learn the SDLC roles, and you're going to get clarity and experience a collaboration. You're going to experience some tools that you might not have access to. You're going to get confidence there. You're going to have some professional growth because you're going to be able to have a project to look back at, put in your portfolio and say, I did this. I was part of this team. You're going to get community and networking. And, of course, there are the awards. So our learning objectives for this, you're going to be able to describe the key deliverables, things that you're going to want to know for interviews. You're going to be able to explain what the activities are. You're going to translate the business problem into a prototype or actual software. You're going to collaborate effectively with cross-functional SDLC roles. Guys, these are terms that you need to know for job postings and interviews, and you need to understand what this means, and we're going to teach it to you. Last but not least, we're going to apply Kanban principles, and you're going to function as a self-directed team member. This is what we call Agile. It's just a piece of what we call Agile, but you'll be able to say, I was in an Agile software development team. And of course, all the time that you participate in this goes to CDUs and PD hours that the IBA and other organizations honor. So let's talk about walking through the weeks. Week 1 is going to be August 22nd. This is a Saturday, and it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we have a 2-week break. The first week is going to be planning and project initiation, 2-week break. The second is requirements and analysis with a 2-week break in between. Solution design is on September 19th, a 2-week break. Development and testing is on October 3rd with a 2-week break. I'll give you the entire calendar in a minute. And then this one is unique. This is going to be October 24th. You have had a 3-week break here. And then November 7th is another 2-week break. This is our final and executive demo and awards. This is when your team is going to say, this is my team, this is what we did, and this is what we produced. And then, of course, the awards. It is probably the most fun of the entire event because y'all continue to amaze me. So here's a screenshot. I'll give you a better screenshot in just a minute, but here's our entire schedule. And let me talk to you about what time it starts. Depending on where you are in the world, I think this is accurate. Double check me. New York is UTC 4, and so at 10 a.m. In London, that's going to be 3 p.m. Shanghai, it's going to be 6 p.m. And Sydney, it's going to be 8 p.m. Seattle, it's a little bit early, but if you're over there and you want to participate, it's not outrageous. And the meetings will last 3 hours. This means that you're going to get in and have time to really work with your team. Last year, we did it in 1-hour increments, and people told us over and over, this isn't long enough. In fact, we need more time. So we're doing it in 3-hour increments. And now let's talk about the applications that we had last year. Last year, we had Miro and Zoom and Balsamiq and Slack. Those are wonderful tools. However, this year, it's exploding. This is what we expect to be able to offer to you. Some of these you may not have heard of before. Some of these are used for a variety of topics that you might not have any information about. Let's see, Balsamiq is how you can create process flows. You can create wireframes. You can show what the screen's going to look like. GitHub is something for developers. Slack is a communications tool, as is Teams. Draw.io, you can create layouts. Miro, you can create layouts, but it's also a way to collaborate. I honestly don't know what Lovable is. I think it's for developers. There's so much stuff here, guys, that if you can say, I have experience doing it, it's going to be impressive. So let's go deeper into the meetings. I'm just going to flip through these. You can go back through the recording and look at these. But in meeting 1, planning and project initiation, we've got 5 activities. And of those 5 activities, the different roles, this is product owner, project manager, BA, dev, PO, BA. These are deliverables, which means it's a document that your team needs to take the problem and create this, fill out the form, basically. Fill out the form so that y'all can figure out what is our plan forward. With meeting 2, we're doing requirements and analysis. You'll see there's less deliverables, but they're critical as well. And there's less activities, but you're going to spend the entire 3 hours, I'm sure. Meeting 3, you've got 5 activities again with backlog grouping and prioritization, and you've got 6 deliverables. Meeting 4, you've got solution design and prototyping. This is really fun. With this one, you've got 7 activities and you've got 7 deliverables as well. You'll notice that the developer and the UI UX and the QA are starting to have more deliverables. And then in our final meeting, you've got 7 activities with testing UAT deployment and traceability, and you've got 8 deliverables with this one. All of these deliverables not only serve a purpose in planning and working your way through SDLC, but they also will be, some of them will be featured on your web page whenever we get to that point. So let's talk about the roles. You may think that in a software development team, one person is the leader, but that's not the way it is whenever we do this in agile format. Every single member of the team is a leader. You have your own goals and you have responsibilities, and each person must do their job for the others to be successful. It's like a dance. One person can't do it by themselves, and
Yes,
if each
okay.
person doesn't stand up and do their job, it's going to be a
Yes, yes,
problem.
yes.
Yes, ma'am? I hear somebody.
Sorry, Thea. 1 second.
That's okay. Okay. So each person is a leader, and it's your job to call out, hey, this doesn't make sense, or this isn't what we should be doing, and keep the group on track. So let's go deeper into the roles themselves. I hope that y'all will speak up if you have held any of these roles and expand on it a little bit and talk about the benefits. I'm just doing a skim surface on these today. So the purpose of the product owner represents the business and the customer voice. Their job is to maximize the business value. Their responsibilities are they own the product vision. They're the ones who say, this is the direction we're going. They prioritize the backlog, which means they say, of all the tasks we have written down that need to be done, these are the ones we should do first. These are the ones we should do after that. And these are the ones we're not doing at all. They make trade-off decisions. They say, this is more important than this other thing, and they accept the completed work. So as the other roles actually complete their things, for instance, the business analyst creates the list of requirements, the quality assurance person creates their list of tests. Whenever they complete them and they get them done, they provide that back to the product owner, and the product owner is responsible for accepting those.
Yeah,
So the key
Thea,
deliver,
yeah,
yes,
sorry, I was just going to put in here, the
please.
responsibilities as well. Uh, we found last year that we needed to have the product owners have a priority of value in their mind when they walk in. It doesn't mean you can't be convinced otherwise, but one
Mm-hmm.
of the key challenges here is recognizing that we'd love to have this marvelous, wonderful thing, but we have a limited amount of capacity. It's called real
Right.
life. This happens all the time. So product owners, you really need to be able to um, express your limits of
Mm-hmm.
what would be valuable to have, but also
Right.
be aware that there may be reasons to say, "Ooh, yeah, we can't do requirement A unless we have B functionality."
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of what needs to be balanced.
Right. And that's real life. And that's what we want everyone to learn is what it's like under real conditions. Thank you, Carol. The key deliverables for the product owner, that there are more than this, but we want them to give us the product vision. We're going to give you the business case that says here's the problem and here's some information. We're also going to give the product owners extra information for them to own that we're not giving to the team. So you're going to have more information, but you're going to come up with the product vision. What is your vision for what we're going to create? You're also going to help us with the product backlog. What are the things that we need to get accomplished to create that? Do we need to create a menu, an app? Do we need a database? Do we need, what do we need? And then whenever we get the user stories working with the other team members, the product owner's job is to prioritize those user stories and then talk to us about acceptance criteria for us to say, we have an app. Do you want us to have some way to sign into the app, or is it open to everyone? You get to decide that, and you help us define what the acceptance criteria is. So what does success look like as a product owner? What it comes down to is your team builds the right thing. You are the one holding the rudder on your ship. Your team gets to the right location. And the simulation connection with our workshop is you decide what gets built in what order. That's what you're going to be doing, boots on the ground as a product owner. Do I have any other comments that would like to talk about being a product owner or what's important in a product owner? I don't see any hands, so I will continue. The next one I want to talk about is the project manager. The project manager's purpose is to guide successful project delivery. So this is an interesting role because they're not so much into what is built, it's how fast is it built? Are we on schedule? Do we have the right people? Are there any blockers? They're kind of more administrative in some ways. And so they want to help be sure that we have all the tools we need to get our job done as the people building the tool or working in the project. Their responsibilities are to help manage scope. So if they hear us say, well, we'd really like to do this, they'll say, wait, is that in scope? Are you sure it's in scope? Show me how it's in scope. That's their job, to guard the scope. They also manage risks. If they say, well, what do you mean there's a possibility that this might be a situation? How much possibility is it? Is it something we need to plan for, or is it something that we don't think is really going to happen? They also keep a risk log so that we can all be on the same page as to what the risks are. They also coordinate the stakeholders. In our project, we only have one stakeholder, and that's a product owner. However, in a real world project, sometimes there's going to be 30, 40, 50 stakeholders. And it's the project manager's job to be sure we have access to the stakeholders that we need information from. And so they help us do that. The project manager helps us also facilitate communication. As I said, they help us get to the right stakeholders. They also help us communicate to our executives. If we need to let the executives know, it looks like this is going to take longer than we anticipated, it's their job to go talk to the executives, maybe with the product owner. Their key deliverables. They create a project plan. This is who is on the team, what are we doing to be able to achieve the job. It's a little bit detailed, but it's really very administrative. As I said, they keep the risk log. They provide status reports to the management. In this case, we're going to ask them to provide status reports to the SDLC administrators. And they keep track of action items, what things need to be done. Now, these aren't action items like this thing needs to be built or this deliverable needs to be filled out. It's what needs to be provided outside the project more. What does success look like as a project manager? The project stays aligned and moving. It's their job. They're almost like the engineer on the train. It's their job to keep the train moving forward and keep all the roadblocks moved off the track. The simulation connection is they keep teams focused and organized. So a project manager is looking at the project from a very different viewpoint from the product owner. Does anybody want to talk about project managers?
Uh, Again, I can put in my 2 cents worth, yeah.
Sure.
Project manager is not the person that says yes or no, but it's the person that enables the decision to be made and tracks the result. Now, there are a
Yes,
lot of individuals who have the authority to make the decisions. The project manager is making sure that the communication gets to the right decision makers.
absolutely. The project manager has a lot of responsibilities. I'm going to ask my board members to monitor chat, please. I see there is chat, but I can't watch it while I'm doing this. The next one I want to talk about is the business analyst. Many of you, because of this organization, you're probably familiar with business analysis, but some of you might not be. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it as though nobody is. The business analyst is the purpose is to ensure the team understands the problem and the solution. It really is a lot more than that, and you're going to learn that as a business analyst. It's our job to be sure that we're solving the right problem, that the team is all on the same page as we work our way through the problem. It's our job is to be sure the right people are in the room, to be sure that they provide the information. So the responsibilities of the business analyst, just a few of them. We elicit requirements. Elicit is a word that means draw out. Uh, Someone used to say gather requirements, and we have fought against that because they're not laying on the ground for us to pick up. We have to draw them out of stakeholders. So we elicit requirements. A requirement is what needs to be done, what needs to be managed. We analyze needs. Is your need big or small? Is your need affecting one person or 400 people? Is your need urgent or not? We facilitate the discussions. If we see people stopping talking, if they are reluctant to talk, it's our job to say, hey, I noticed you weren't speaking up very much. Is there something that you'd like to contribute that you didn't want to contribute in the group? We have to monitor people. We're kind of like sociologists and psychologists and counselors and facilitators, but we have to monitor our teams. We also clarify requirements. If a requirement comes in and either it conflicts with another requirement or if it's not clear, it's our job to go after how to make it clear. And our definition of clear is it's got to be testable. It's got to be reasonable. It's going to have to be achievable. It's got to be atomic. You'll learn all these words later. Our key deliverables, there are more than this, is user stories. User story is an art and a science altogether. A user story tells you who wants to accomplish what and then why. And there's multiple user stories in every single feature that we build. There are process flows. In other words, what happens first? What happens second? What happens after that? Is there a decision point? And if there's a decision point, what's a yes answer and what's the no answer? Then we take our user stories, we turn them into requirements, and we do our decision documentation. For instance, if the product owner decided we would not pursue this piece of the project, we identify that with the date, time, basically this decision was made by this person. So what does success look like as a business analyst? There are a few surprises. We hate surprises. We're allergic to them, like radically allergic to surprises. And we want clear understanding. We want everyone to have the same vision of what moving forward is like and where we're going to land. What does success look like? We document that. The simulation connection is bridges business and technical teams. So we don't care if you're on the business side and you're worried about this deadline or you have to write this report, or if you're on the technical side, software development or IT or whatever you want to call them, and you're thinking about which tables and which connections. We have to learn both languages and we have to be able to speak it so that they both have the same understanding, even if we're having to say different words. Does anyone want to talk about business analysis? Okay, let's move on to UI UX. UI UX is an acronym. UI is user interface. UX is user experience. Uh, Sometimes you're going to have people doing these jobs separately in large organizations, but for our small little company that we have here that we're putting together for this workshop, it's going to be a combined role. The purpose of the UI UX person is to design solutions users can easily understand and use. Have you ever opened up an app and couldn't figure out what they wanted you to do? Or mashed a button that did not react the way you thought it should? Somebody did not do their UI UX. Sometimes business analysts have to do that role, so maybe they were just being stretched. So the UI UX person has the privilege of being able to say, So you want an app. Do you want it mobile? Do you want it on a tablet or do you want it on a desktop? So which size do you want? So what do you want on your app? How do you want it to appear when they first open it? What are the things you want on the screen? Well, for this, you need to have it organized in this way. And they literally create a picture of what the screen would look like. And then when you mash this button, you're going to go to this other screen and what is a picture of what that screen would look like? Which things have drop downs and which things have radio buttons and you get to design it. It is so cool. But your goal is to make it where people can understand it just by looking at it without having instructions is ideal. You can't always do that, but that's ideal. Your responsibilities are to understand the users. Who's going to be using the tool that you're creating? Because if you have people who are super technical, you're going to it's going to have a different appearance and different behavior than you're going to have people that they've never seen an application before. They've never seen a smartphone. It's very different. So you have to understand your users. You're going to create your flows, which means when they do this, this is going to happen. When they do this, this is going to happen. You're going to create wireframes, which are the pictures I talked about. You may create prototypes, which are the pictures with buttons on there that when you click it, it actually looks like the application is built. It will go ahead and switch over to the new screen, or it will have the drop downs. Then you're going to validate usability. It's like, is this what is according to market standards? Is this really easy for people to understand? You're going to learn things with validating usability, things like you don't want it to be all gray tones. You don't want it to be colors that people who are colorblind, the high percentage of colorblind, which is red green, you don't want it to have colors on there where they would have to see those specific colors because we have so many people that can't. Um, the key deliverables, you're going to create personas. Personas is a word that means you're going to create a character, a fictional character that says, for instance, Amy likes to go to the coffee shop. Amy always arrives at 7:30 on Saturday mornings. She always sits in the same booth and she always orders the same thing. She brings her puppy. I mean, you create the whole character. It's kind of fun, but what it's interesting is because you create the persona, everyone else in the team gets to understand that's who we're building this for. So they think about Amy being their customer. And you're going to have multiple personas for most of your products. Again, the wireframes, the pictures I told you about, the mock-ups, and the prototypes. Success for a UI UX designer looks like this. When the user is actually using the application that you're developing, it runs smoothly. They don't have to stop and go, wait a minute, where is that? Or that field's not long enough for what I need to put in it. You want them to have a successful, pleasant experience that is what we call intuitive. Less instruction is needed, and they're able to just walk through it because it's logical the way our minds work. The simulation connection here is it defines how solutions look and feels. So you are the designer of the final product.
And
And
Thea,
then
if you will, the
yes.
UX, the UI UX is really the most visible
Hmm.
alignment with the product owner. The two of them, when they are aligned, we get wonderful results because the product owner is representing the value to the business consumer and how
Right.
they perceive it. And the majority of what we measure that on is the UI UX. The actions from the BA are also as incredibly important to contribute to that.
I agree with you. Whenever you're working in something like customer service, if you're a bank teller, say, the way you treat, the experience you provide to the people that come up to your window, you are the face of the bank for those people. You provide the entire experience. If you give them a bad experience, they feel like the whole bank is bad. Well, it's the same thing for UI UX. If you give them a good experience, they have a lot of confidence in the whole application, the whole organization, the whole company that provided that application. Does anyone else want to mention anything about UI UX? Okay,
I have a
let's move
question.
on. Oh, yes.
So my name is Haji, and I've been looking for business analysis like jobs in the market, and sometimes I do see that they require those products, those UI UX deliverables to the business analyst. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how is that like frequent that they require the BA to do at the same time the job of the UX in your experience?
I'd like to get input from other people, but I'll go ahead and tell you my experience. In very, very large organizations, they don't. In smaller organizations, it's often. Because in large organizations, they can say, you have so much work just doing UI, or you have so much work just doing UX or doing BA, that they can split the roles in totally different departments. But in a smaller organization, you need to have the familiarity of all of it because we have many hats in small organizations, especially if someone can't do the job or they're not available to do the job. We pick up the slack.
On the other hand, even in the larger teams, the UI UX and the BA are, arm in arm partners. They're looking at the challenge and the value deliverable from two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. But they need to work together. So
Mhm.
understanding what the other role's job is and how they do it and what tools they use and such is valuable whenever you're talking about having to communicate with them so closely. It might be a good idea for you to be in this workshop doing UI UX. Any other questions or comments? I see a hand up.
Uh, a quick interjection and addition to what already happened as a discussion. Uh, Maybe I can put it this way about the BA and UX UI designer and based on the user experience design. BA will ensure that we are building the right solution based on the right needs and the correct requirements. And then based on the user experience design, the user experience designer make sure that the solution get built the way that the user wants it. The users want it,
Mhm.
or in other words, as I'm also coming from a developer perspective, one thing always commonly we used to say to each other that the solutions that we are building, we are not building it for ourselves. Or in other words, the solution should be usable by the end users, and they might think differently, they may use it differently, they may want it in a different way. I mean, it is not necessarily the end user be a developer, and they may not use it with a developer mindset. So that's why it is really crucial. And a UI UX designer is very near and dear to me. And
Mhm.
it goes hand to hand with a BA. BA is making sure that the requirement parts are really accurate and based on the needs. And
Mhm.
likewise, the designer will make it the way that they want it.
Yep.
I agree. I want to remind you all of something. Let's say you have a UI UX person and they're working on a product for elementary school children. It's going to be a very, very different focus for an elementary school child than it would be if you're working on someone that is a professional in the workplace and they need to track their appointments. Your idea, your persona of that customer, that stakeholder is going to be specific to that stakeholder. So you got to think about what is their experience. Anything else on UI UX? All right.
I had,
Yes.
hey, sorry, I'm Naren. I had something controversial thinking about UI UX at one point when I
Okay.
was working. I felt that UI UX layer was not that helpful considering we as BAs already do wireframes. And if you're able to do wireframes, UI UX is nothing but wireframes, but a bit more sophisticated version of that. We also do all the personas, were required, and then we build UI UX. Sorry, we build the wireframes. So having UI UX was something like another layer for you to get to the actual output or actual feedback from your stakeholders. So I always felt that why do we have UI UX when I can do wireframing? But I do understand why it is required, in terms of how the look and feel of it and all that stuff. But I somehow feel that that can be done by BA, and we already can do that by having our wireframes. Um, that's where my thinking was.
I can understand why you felt that way. Let me tell you that very often UI UX, they have a degree that is they've actually gone to school and studied this, and they can do things that we can't do because they have understanding of things like processing challenges and visual challenges that people might have that may cause
Right.
the screen have to be different. Say if you have a very low ability to see and you have to magnify it, they
Mm.
understand that because they've had to focus on it. We say this is what the screen should look like, and they kind of go,
Yeah.
wait a minute, we can't make the screen look like that because there's this law,
Color issues. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
regulations, things like that.
Okay.
And there's
I think I'm smart, but I don't know everything they know. Yes,
That's
Carol.
true.
there are a couple of other things to just bring up for thought. One of them is, as you mentioned, we're not going to be staying on a single device. There are different sizes, there are
Mm.
different
Mm-hmm.
portrait, landscape. How can you read that without needing to scroll back and forth? So there are some technical training areas where they get a lot more experience saying, okay, this is what has to shift where and under what conditions.
Right.
The other one shows up more in a global situation where you've got countries and languages that are read in a different sequence than we're accustomed to with English, with the European languages. You
Mm.
go to Asia Pacific, vertical, right to left, you've got all sorts of variations out there. And the UI designer is going to be able to say, all right, do I position a graphic on the top right or the bottom left? Where is it most
Right.
impactful
Mm.
related to the audience?
Oh, I just thought, what if you want to
Yeah.
use the color red? If you want to use the
Yeah.
color
Oh,
red in some countries,
be
that's a good thing.
careful.
In some countries, it's
Yeah.
bad. Or the thumbs up sign.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's offensive to some people. I mean, it's like I can't keep track of it. So I let them do their job.
Yeah. Do you see those roles being phasing out though,
No,
or do
No,
you think? Okay.
no,
All
no,
right.
no. They're getting even
Even
more
more.
embedded in that because our devices are evolving. They're changing. When you look
But
at AI outputs,
yeah. Yeah. That
I
was the
see
next thing I wanted to
text,
ask as
I
well.
see text from here to the middle of next week, and I'm saying, where are my graphics for crying out loud? A picture speaks 1,000 words.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right. So making it where it's palatable and tastes good in your mouth, not just you can eat it, but it tastes good in your mouth as you
Mm.
have the
Mm.
experience is something that I think humans have to be responsible for a lot longer.
Cool.
Okay,
Agree with that.
let's move. I'm
Yep.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, agree with that. We can move ahead. Yep.
Okay. So next I want to talk about developers, and I saw a developer prop on the screen a while ago in preparation, so I'm looking forward to that. So the developer's purpose is to build the technical solution. They literally take the requirements from the business analysts that have been approved by the product owner and put in order of which one is should be done first, and they take the requirements from the UI UX person as to what it should look like, and they put those together. And they work very closely with the quality assurance person. We'll get to quality assurance in just a moment. Uh, but they actually build it. They make all these ideas into something that we can touch, we can interact with. They bring it to life. They're the magic maker. Their responsibilities, they design the technical approach. How am I going to show that on the screen? What am I going to use in the background to make this work properly? They decide what their tools of choice are, what their design is going to be in the back end. They're very creative people. They actually write the code. And right now we can use AI to do some things, but it won't do everything for us. They perform unit tests, which means that they've put everything together that they think is going to work, and then they walk through it as a user. They test it. They look at the back end to see, is the back end working properly? Back end means the code that you don't see. They look at the front end, the things that you do see. Is that working properly? And then whenever they find things that aren't working the way the requirements and the UI UX said that it was going to work, they will fix those defects. Defects, it means problems, or it doesn't meet the standards. The key deliverables from a developer is source code, which is the original code that they write. The technical components, APIs. Guys, remind me what API stands for?
Application Programming Interface.
Application Programming Interface. API is a handshake between two things. It's like I want to send a picture of my check to the bank, so the API is the thing that moves from my phone to the bank. And it keeps track of it. It keeps track, is it successful? There's security, all kinds of neat stuff. And then, of course, the unit test is a deliverable that they must document and turn into the project. Success looking like for a developer, they create a reliable and maintainable solution. Maintainable is important. If something isn't able to be updated, if it isn't able to function on a regular basis going forward, it's not maintainable. So we need it to be reliable and maintainable. The simulation connection is developers turn requirements into working software. In 2025, I was stunned. I was bewildered. I was blown away and flabbergasted. When we had our demo, I was honestly expecting that the teams had gone out and they'd made prototypes. Here's a picture of what it would look like, and I can describe to you how it would. They came up with real software, guys. I was blown away. I'm so proud. I'm so excited to see what we're going to do this year from our developers. Not all the developers were experienced developers last year. Some of them figured out how to do it. And we've got people here on the team that can help you at least get over the hurdles. So, last but not least, this is one of my very favorite roles, the tester or the quality assurance engineer. They have a lot of different names. We typically call them QA. But before I read all that, I'm going to tell you what the QA's job is. The QA's job is I understand what the requirements are, I understand what UI UX design is, and I will create tests to see, are they being met? The answer is yes or no. It's not maybe. It's not a little bit. It's not kind of. It's a yes or no. And if it's no, the QA will stand at the gate with their sword and shield and say, this is not good enough to pass. They are the guard that keeps us from letting bad stuff, not good enough stuff, go through the gate. So I really like QA. I think that they're critical for the job and they always need to be brought in earlier than they are. Their purpose is to verify quality and reduce risk. They're the ones who say, wait a minute, I see a problem that could happen if we do it this way, because they get into the guts of everything and they can see risks. And so they raise the flag. Their responsibilities, they create test cases. That's another way to say they write something that says, to achieve this goal, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And if it meets this goal, it passes. And if it doesn't pass. They execute those tests. They report defects. Again, remember, defect means it didn't meet standards. They report defects. This isn't working properly. And then when the developer takes it back and they say, okay, I fixed that, they validate that the fix is accurate. It is their job to preserve quality. Their key deliverables are the test cases, the test results, and the defect reports. Success for a QA person looks like defects found before deployment. In other words, we don't ship it out the door until it's right. How many companies have you seen that they ship stuff out the door and then they just wait for customers to say, this isn't working? And so they're not paying us to be their QA analysts, but that's what we're doing. So for our project, we want the defects found before it gets to be put on our website. The simulation connection, they confirm the solution meets expectations. Again, it's a yes or no answer, nothing in between. So now that you understand a little bit more about the different roles, do you understand how each person has to do their job for the other ones to succeed? One can do their job wonderfully. Two can do their job wonderfully. If not all 6 people do their job, it can't succeed. Everyone is critical to success. And what happens is sometimes in the real world too, someone doesn't show up for the meeting. For instance, the developer isn't there to do development. And what happened is we punted, or the PM doesn't show up to a meeting. The other people take over that role. We don't want to have to do that. It's not fair to the other people in the team who are trying to do their role. So what we are going to do for our SDLC workshop, as we did last year, we try to put an experienced person in each role and maybe 2 less experienced people in that role so that they can learn from the more experienced person and they can walk through the workshop together. We need you to sign up for the workshop though. We're going to have a cutoff on the 15th of everyone who's signed up, and then we're going to assign you teams, assign you roles, and we're going to try to group it this year based on time zone, so that if you decide your team wants to meet outside of our normal hours, your time zone won't be all the way across the world from the other people in your team. I told you earlier we are going to ask you to practice some Agile. Agile is just a word that means that we're doing things in small increments and we're communicating effectively. In fact, I saw that Aaron Wittenberger is on the call. Aaron recently wrote a book. It's right here. It is Agile Business Analysis, and it is what I would think a guidebook is for Agile if you're a business analyst. One of the things we're going to ask you to do in your teams is this. This is called a Kanban board. This is a very, very simple way to do Agile. And it literally is, here's your backlog. Here are the things that you're going to do. This is what's in progress, what's ready for review. The review is in progress and waiting for a third party to check it and done. You can label your columns anything you want to as a team. The team has to agree. But what this does is it says, hey, the content person, this is what the content person is working on. The PPC person, this is what the PPC person is working on. So this way, the entire team has a clear view of exactly what the status is of every piece of work and who's doing what. It's critical for the team to have this communication. Otherwise, you're going to be saying, hey, developer, where are we on this? Hey, QA, where are we on this? Has anybody done anything with this thing? You don't have to do that with this. Kanban is a brilliant technique and it's not hard to do. You can do it in Excel. You can do it on a Miro board. You can do it in a lot of different platforms. Your team gets to decide because you're a self-directing team. I'm going to show you the calendar. This is the better version I told you about. And the reason it's a better version is if you want to sign up for the workshop, here is the website to sign up for the workshop. I'll give you a chance to view this, and I'm going to show you, get something else right over here. Get a screenshot of that if you want to. I'm sorry, one more thing. If you're asking, how much is this workshop? I'm going to tell you. This workshop is going to be, let's see, 3 times 6 is 18 hours. And then we're giving you these 2 hours, 18 hours of credit. And you get real world experience pretty much. And you get a project that's going to be on the internet with your name and your deliverables and credibility and experience. Let's see, all that. We're charging $15 for the entire workshop. And the only reason we're doing that is because we are having to buy some of this technology that we're sharing with you, giving you access to. So we're just asking you to help us pay for a little part of it. We're paying for the rest. And one more thing, just going into cost, we are still planning on giving out 10 IIBA year memberships for people who they really lean in, they really work, they really participate, they really learn, they really volunteer in their teams. We're still doing that this year, as well as for all the mentors. So if you're interested in participating in the workshop or being a mentor, reach out to us. If you want to participate, here's the website. Let's move that up so that fixes. Here's the website, tampabay.iba.org. If you want to be a mentor, the mentor application is at the bottom of the main page of this website. So go to the main page, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It says application for mentor, SDLC mentor, and fill that out. Right now, we need a few more mentors and a few more skills. We also need more developers, more QA, and more UI UX people if they would like to participate in this as mentors or participants. Let me show you where all this is going to go to. We're going to go to the website baforcemultiplier.com. And this is what we did last year. I expect us to do something very, very similar this year. Here's our 6 teams under the SDLC Experience Workshop 2025. And let's just randomly pick a team. Here are the team members. It says their names, their locations, and just about 50 words about them. Not a lot. These are the people that were on team 1. Here's their problem statement. Here's their solution statement. Here's a screenshot of their Kanban board and a little bit about that and a link to their Miro. Project deliverables by the project manager. Project deliverables by the project manager, product owner, the business analyst. Wouldn't you like to be able to say, I was the business analyst because it says it up above? And this is what I created. And it's been on the internet for everyone to see for a full year. We've committed to keeping these out for a full year for you. Project deliverables by the QA tester, by the UI UX designer, and then here is their application. This is the live website. Let's enter a bill. Let's see. Enter bill. Bill amount.
Click the top drop down.
Am I in the wrong place? There it is. The amount is $100 for this bill. And I'm going to say Bill is one of my friends. I'm doing something wrong here. Oh.
Yeah, just set an amount and then under item, give it a name.
Under item, give it a name. Yes.
For like food or
meal.
it's like a running total.
Okay.
Hit add item.
Add item.
Oh, something got caught.
Well, it was working last year.
In
other words, this is real software, guys. This is not just a picture. And then here's more things that the developer created.
So
and
this
then
workshop is going to start from the 22nd, is it?
The workshop, let's go back to that.
Yep.
The workshop, the first day is Saturday the 22nd from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
And then it's September 5th, 19th, October 3rd, 24th, and then November 7th is the awards.
Sweet. And how do we get in touch?
If you want to be a participant, go to this website down here at the bottom, right here. HTTPS tampabay.iba.org and go to our events page. In fact, let me just take you there now.
I'm actually on that right now.
So here is the website. You go to events, chapter events. Oh, to be a mentor, you're going to go to the main page and scroll down to the very, very bottom. And it's the 2026 SDLC Experience Workshop Mentor Application. It's called application, but really what it is we need your bio, we need your picture, we need your experience, we need your release to be able to say we're going to share your name on the website.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And so if you want to be a participant, you go to our chapter events and you go to this one on the 22nd and you can register. And there are a lot of questions in there because we need the same information from you as a participant. We need your permission, things like that. We
Yep.
do need your photo sent to the email that's in the application. So please do send your photos so we can put it on the website
Sure.
whenever it's time.
Yep. Sounds good.
What questions do I have, ladies and gentlemen?
So if you already registered, so right now there is nothing else to do till the first day on August 22nd.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. We will be sending out packets
Excuse me,
about a week
excuse me.
before the event. Yes, Olga.
Um, uh, I need to remind you that there is another, the second intro
Oh, you're
before the
right.
first session.
You're right. Thank you, Olga. There are two prerequisites for participating in this workshop. And this meeting, the recording or participating in this meeting, and then there's one more in 2 weeks. And the reason for that is because last year we had people that they came to the workshop and they knew nothing about SDLC. So we're asking everyone to hear these, learn these, and at least start with on the same page, a little bit deeper in than not knowing anything. Some of y'all are experienced and you know a lot, and that's great. But we'd like for everyone to commit to the 2 hours of prerequisites. And we'll be sending out packets to all participants and mentors about a week before the event. We'll have another mentors meeting before the event to just be sure you know everything you need to know. And I don't care what role you're a mentor for. We would like for you to participate in the event, the mentors event. And the reason for that is so that we can answer all of your questions. And when you walk into the workshop, you know what's going on. Okay? Let me say the packet that I'm going to be sending out to you, it's long. Don't get overwhelmed by it. You only have to read the first part in meeting 1, and it's going to give you everything that all the other roles are going to be doing so you know what they're doing as well. It's not just you. You're not going to be, so I know my piece and I don't know what they're doing. You're going to have it all in one packet. So you have the full meal deal of what the team is going to be doing in meeting 1. And then you can move to meeting 2 after you finish meeting 1. But I think I've put it together in a very thorough way, but I've made it for beginners. Everything in here literally it says beginner version. It's the very basics so that you can just get the job done. You don't get all of the extra stuff. Let's see, how long will participants have access to the applications to explore? The access to the application to the BA Force Multiplier, you'll have it for a year. We have committed to keep the website up for a year after the workshop. So you'll have that to be able to show potential employers, this is a project I was involved in. This is what I did. Okay,
And with the mentors there, does it matter from which country they are?
no,
No.
no.
Okay.
What we are looking for mentors is people that have true experience in software
Yep.
development lifecycle, regardless of what the role is, to bring
Yep.
your experience to benefit the community. We don't care
Great.
where you live. We don't
Yep.
care if English is not your first language.
Right.
We expect you to show up and benefit our community. And
Great.
then we can honor you as mentors.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed your name
Ladies,
as well.
my name is Thea Soehren.
Thea. Hi, Thea.
Okay. We try to start on time and end on time, and we're a few minutes late, and I apologize for that. I will be starting the next meeting on time, and I've got to jump because I've got to go teach a CVAP certification class. If y'all have questions, please reach out to me. Let me drop my name in the chat just in case anybody else missed it. You can reach out
And
to
your
me
LinkedIn?
on LinkedIn,
Yep.
and I am very responsive there.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for the good we can do together. I'm excited for the good we can do to lift our community. Wherever you are, we can get you a little bit higher if you lean in. Okay? Thank you so much. I'll see
Thank
you
you, Thea.
next week for the recruiters meeting. I'll talk to you
See you guys.
later. Bye.